Hello, it is me, the funny Dragon's Dogma guide man. You're probably already aware that Dragon's Dogma 2 has officially been revealed, and if you aren't, go watch the trailer and then come back here within the hour or I will get lonely. This video will naturally contain big spoilers for the original game, so if you'd rather avoid them, I understand. Go complete the game and then come back here. Don't worry, I'm patient, I promise. I have painstakingly absorbed every pixel of this trailer so that you don't have to. I'm also going to be throwing in a lot of speculation and theory crafting at the end, trying to connect dots as best I can. So first things first, it goes without saying, but the visuals are amazing. Not only are they top of the line as we've come to expect from Capcom, they distinctly maintain the aesthetic identity of the original game. You can tell just by looking that this is indeed Dragon's Dogma. Anyway, our trailer opens on a quote in French, just as the original game did. The quote is attributed to Honoré de Balzac and reads, "La conviction et la volonté humaine arrivent à sa plus grande puissance." Forgive me for my terrible French. Translated, the quote means, "Conviction is the human will at its greatest power." If you're familiar with the plot of Dragon's Dogma, this is basically the single most Dragon's Dogma quote ever, given the main theme of the game is that of volition. The scene shifts from a soaring griffin to a shot of a wagon trailing down a road, which immediately gives me Skyrim PTSD. The camera zooms out and, hold up, that's the Blue Moon Tower. Straight up. Ain't no way that's not the Blue Moon Tower. Except geographically speaking, we seem to be on the other side of it and it looks to be on another landmass entirely. The area we were just focused on didn't seem to resemble Grancis, so this could imply the story takes place in another province. Possibly the mainland or Hearthstone this time. Logo, lady. She says some stuff about not remembering protecting her, suggesting our character has amnesia, which has been confirmed. Man with sword. Stop! Let me see that shield. While bearing a resemblance to the Grand Sorin shield of the original game, this appears to be distinctly the shield of another land, again insinuating we aren't in Grancis this time. Greg, is that you? We got furries now. I can't say I was expecting it, but you know what? The more the merrier. I welcome them with open arms, and besides, I've got a skooma trade to run. This lady is a ghost, I think, which is fair enough. We actually had a lot of those in the original game. We get our first glimpses at combat and Blink Strike, my beloved! The immediate impression I get is that the combat has notably more weight to it. Considering the direction Dragon's Dogma Online took, this is actually quite surprising, but I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. It is quite distinct though. Like, look at Blink Strike here. Not only does it look shorter range, it has a bit of wind up and momentum to it, rather than the nearly instant dash of the original game. That said, very important to remember, we're likely seeing the standard versions of skills here. If we are still able to upgrade them, then there's no accounting for how that will change things. Lady! Golems are back, and we get our first look at a bow user here. Looking good. Seems they kept manual aiming, which is definitely a good thing. We got a mage in this next bit, and oh, hell yeah. The magic's still cool as fuck. This fella just fucking flings like 3 goblins at once. Apparently some spells will be going in a physics-based direction, which makes sense. Physics were noted on the website as a distinct focus of the game, along with the AI. Boom! Magic Archer's back, fighting what looks to be an ogre with a hammer. Okay, I really need to just reiterate, these graphics look so good, dude. Magic is happening again, and that better not be what I think it is. Here we see what seems to be an entirely new caster I have dubbed the Bridgemancer. They wield a... honestly, I don't know what that is, but they can apparently manifest platforms of mist, I guess? I get the impression this is something very context sensitive, but if it isn't, and you can just create platforms at will, that opens up the door for some enormous potential. Next up is definitely a sorcerer, and uh-oh, we know what this is. I know a lot of people are happy to see this spellmaker return. We're given a shot of a market. This place looks lovely. I can't wait to aimlessly run in circles on top of all the stands. We see inside a cozy tavern, followed by a view of a village that again makes me just want to stop and soak in the landscape. This game is beautiful. Dragon! Grappling is back, as is good old launch board, and now we have destructible environments. We get a cute shot of presumably the Arisen and Pawn high-fiving. On my first viewing, I wondered if this was implying co-op, but it's since been made clear Dragon's Dogma 2 is specifically a single-player game. This does make me a bit sad and feels like a missed opportunity, but I can't complain too much since DMC5 was also a single-player only game, and the sheer focus that allowed left us with what is, in my opinion, one of the best games of all time. This shot of a Riftstone could feasibly be hinting at a greater focus on the mysteries of the Rift this time around, but it could also mean nothing at all. We'll have to see. Here we get to see a Gorgon. That's sick as hell. Very excited for new monster types in this game. Even more important to note here is the presence of what appears to be a Sphinx, which actually made its first appearance in Dragon's Dogma Online. The reason this is a big deal is that sets a precedent. Elements from DDO are being utilized for Dragon's Dogma 2, and it's quite possible that doesn't end at the monsters. Basically what I'm saying is, please put Alchemist in this game. This dragon is very likely not Grigori, but he's doing the Grigori thing. This firmly reinforces that Arisen as we know them are making a return, and obviously pawns along with them. This is a big deal, so I'll return to this during the theorizing section of the video in a moment. Also, of course, the return of David Lodge is an absolutely enormous W. So a few things to add to what we've learned. The official Dragon's Dogma 2 website confirms an emphasis on pawn and enemy AI, with a distinct focus on pawns being so unique that they're easy to mistake for other players. There's mention that the story of our amnesiac hero begins in an underground jail, apparently after they've already lost their heart to the dragon. It also hints that players will be able to choose their own experience. It only actually lists stuff we're already familiar with choosing, such as vocation and so on, but there may be more to that. There's been some speculation about moral choices impacting the story and such. Now let's recap on vocations real quick. So far we've seen Fighter, Warrior, I would say Strider, but something important to note here is I don't see daggers on this guy, meaning we could well be looking at Hunter from DDO as a dedicated bow vocation, which would likely mean Strider has become Seeker, and if that means they get to dart around on a grappling hook, I am more than okay with that. Time to look back at Gravity Lad over here. Though I described him as a mage at first, and that might well be true, one detail that really sticks out is what he's holding. This doesn't just look like a staff, and he isn't holding it like one either. This looks like some sort of double-ended spear, or rather twin blade. I think we're actually looking at a new vocation entirely. It's also vaguely possible that this is Spirit Lancer from DDO or a new interpretation of it. Then there's Magic Archer. I'm pretty sure what we see here is a mage, and obviously we've covered Bridgemancer, which is definitely all new. Next is Sorcerer, and oh, you thought I wouldn't notice, huh? You'd technically be right because I'm just noticing as I'm writing this, but I see daggers, baby! We got daggers! That is definitely a Strider or Seeker getting fucking yeeted, and I'm pretty sure I'm seeing the startup of 100 Kisses. I am also noticing a distinct lack of bow. I'm pretty sure at this point daggers and bow have been split into their own vocations. So to go down the list, our potentially confirmed vocations are Fighter, Warrior, Hunter, Gravity Dude, Magic Archer, Mage, Bridgemancer, Sorcerer, and Seeker. If I am correct, that's 9 vocations right off the bat, and I'm pretty certain there are more to come. Yeah, take a breath. I can tell some of you Mystic Knights are getting pretty antsy right about now. Of the lot, I'm definitely most eager to get my hands on 3 vocations, specifically the new Fighter to see how it plays. The thought of what Seeker might be capable of is really exciting, and I'm gonna be honest, I find the concept of Gravity Dude fascinating. Theory time. We can possibly expect a katana-based vocation. Take this with a grain of salt, but during the development for the game, Itsuno made mention about studying katanas, and I genuinely believe it was for the purpose of properly implementing katana-based skills into the game. This is pure speculation though, nothing solid at all. Similarly, this is also mere speculation and is actually backed up by even less in the way of substance, but at one point it was planned for us to go to the moon in the original game. Apparently in this early build it had stopped its motion, causing the tides to cease. It would lead us to the Endless Tower, which was the original concept for the Everfall. Given the developers had to cut this and apparently a lot of content from the final build of the first game, I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to properly explore that content in the sequel, especially since they seem to have a lot more time and budget this go around. There is also this, which seems to be an early leaked screenshot. I'm speculating this is the throne that gets mentioned, where the website describes our journey as a tale of one who shall slay the dragon and claim the throne. Now, although this sounds sort of like it's matching the original plot almost beat for beat, I fully expect some sort of enormous subversion inbound. We probably aren't going to see it coming. I doubt it'll even be hinted at in promotional material, which seems to be playing things very safe for now. But it might change a lot, not just in regards to Dragon's Dogma 2, but even the wider lore as we interpret it. Again, this is just guesswork. Returning to the dragon, this detail is maybe the most important in the entire trailer, because given that we broke the cycle at the end of the original game, the presence of another red dragon strongly implies Dragon's Dogma 2 is a prequel. However, that isn't strictly the case. While it is true that we broke the cycle and stopped the tale of the Arisen from repeating, it's possible that it's still set to play out one last time. We severed the loop, but the threads keep moving forward until it reaches its end. Or perhaps we broke one cycle only for another to begin. I actually have a lot more to this whole theory, but I started writing it out and it just kept going, so that might end up being its own video at some point, but for this one, I didn't want to be too overkill. It's also important to remember this could be a blank slate setting or a new, largely disconnected cycle, which would actually make some amount of sense if this is the dev team's attempt at going all out and making the game they wanted to with the original. But honestly, whatever we get, I will be happy because at the end of the day, any Dragon's Dogma is good Dragon's Dogma. Unless it's a Netflix show, but we don't talk about that. I've been waiting so long for this. It goes without saying, but I am absolutely thrilled. That dragon's getting his nose punched, I'll tell you that much for free. If we get more trailers and anything else of substance, which I imagine we will, I'll gladly cover that as well. And of course, you can expect location guides from me, hopefully not too long after the game releases. For now though, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe and drop a fat, disgusting like, and I'll see you again. Peace! Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to subscribe, drop a like, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. You can join my Discord for updates and to hang out with the lovely members of the Thieves Guild. I can also be followed on Twitter, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so on Patreon, or simply donate directly via PayPal. Links can be found in the description below. Have a great day. I'll catch you next time.